Alright, so I recorded this a few times, but I had really went on a long rant. My name is Sunny. I just play Destiny. That's it, and other games, but I rarely ever post on YouTube or make content. But I feel like this needs to be said by just a mere pleb like me who doesn't actually play the game consistently. And, well, I play consistently. That's what I meant to say. Just not to the level of streamers and YouTube creators and don't have that huge following and impact on Bungie and their decisions and voice. First thing, let's talk about PvP. Um, I love PvP, but I don't love this PvP. My main gripe is, and some of you may agree, some of you may not, the fact that control never leaves. It's always control. Now, plus sides to that is that you get the team gameplay that you want in a looter shooter in this game that allows people to not feel powerless and when going against a person. But another thing that I really don't like about that is it creates that hand holding effect. You can't really go down a corridor unless there's three people down there together walking around that corner. Yeah, it has a lot to do with gameplay and pushing people, but at the same time, with control constantly being a thing, you can be capping a point and someone just cast your super and just totally cancel that capping the point out. And hunters, for instance, sorry, but hunters are hunters, and they use their stasis one or bleed barrage, whatever the case may be, and just wipe out the whole, like five people that are on there, four people, three people. Well, you didn't cap the point, but you lost three people. You can't really do anything about that. It is what it is. But it creates this thing where now there's no skill-based matchmaking. So you can outshine every single one of your teammates, but yet you lose the game. And yeah, winning and losing doesn't really matter. It's not a competitive sport or game. But at the same time, the way I look at it is you get these new players that hop in or don't really like Crucible, and they don't find that enjoyment out of it. They don't find the thrill. They don't find that sense of learning curve. It's just they hit that wall once they compete against some of these top tier players, and it's not fun. And you can have a really good game as well. Like you can have a 30 plus game, let's say, 30 opponents defeated. But because your team didn't hold more zones the longest time while you got those 30 kills, they don't mean anything to someone who's probably gotten 15, right? Because they get double the points for that. I'm just saying, please, Bungie, if somehow this gets to someone watching it, either put freelance on regular Crucible, like Control, and leave Control there then, that's fine. Or just put in Clash as a regular standing thing. From D1. D1 they always had Clash, Control, whatever the case may be. That was fun. Yeah, they cycle it out every so often, but it's not just for a week. It doesn't feel good. I like playing with my gunplay, my skill play. I love pushing and playing aggressive. Yes, you can get that in control sometimes and keeping people off their cap of zone, but at the same time, if you push into a zone too often, you're going to flip spawns and they're going to get the other zone. And then if your team's not on your zone and you just die because there happened to be a strangler on that side, well, guess what? The other team capped two zones then and you're losing now, pretty much. It's not enjoyable. Second thing leads into Iron Banner, really, staying on PvP. With Iron Banner, I love it. Iron Banner is fun. One, armor is armor, whatever. You recycle content. It is what it is. I find that annoying. Some others may find it nostalgia. Others probably don't care. They just go for power, which I do in case. But when all the power drops, all the bounties you get on all your characters 3 out of 4 drop all in the heavy spot, and you just need a helmet on the hunter, let's say, and then arms and warlock on the warlock. Sorry, and then Titan just needs chest, arms, and helmet. That was my experience last week. And 3 out of 4 of all of those bounties drop in the heavy spot. That doesn't make me want to play anymore because I'm annoyed at the fact that I wasted all that time in a game mode that is only control. Sorry again for being that pushy on it. Only control. When back in D1, I mean, not many people, or a lot of people will understand this, while some won't. They used to have Rift, which was you grab like this orb, and you dunk it against. It's kind of like a modified version of like basketball or soccer, I guess, to really put it simply. Um, and you have to defend your runner who has to bank it, and then you can get the kills from that rift explosion, which is cool, you know? Spawns never flipped. It was always one side versus another, which was cool. Yeah, there was disadvantage based on which side you got at times because maps weren't properly balanced back in D1, but now it is. I mean, you have Cauldron, you have not Cauldron, the Anomaly, you have all this other stuff consistently in the game, and that are balanced in terms of spawns, but yet they don't take advantage of implementing some of those new game modes. Um, and then same thing with Iron Banner Mayhem. Wasn't that was fun, you know? It wasn't a sweat fest. It wasn't do this, do that. And I get it. They have a quest built around points right now or flags, whatever the case may be. But even to complete that quest, you get what? A triumph and you get a shader and an emblem. Cool. That's great. They handle these guns out, which is fine. It's not locked behind this grindy quest, but at the same time, you don't even have to play control. Honestly, you don't have to cap flags multiple times on all the characters. You just have to do it once on one character, and it's account wide. It crosses on cross. All you have to do is just get kills. Why not implement that in a clash match or mayhem clash, mayhem control? Mayhem control probably would be not great, but Mayhem Rift, I think there was at one time, or whatever the case may be. Just Rift or Control, or I mean Clash, variety, PvP. Um, it just doesn't feel satisfying. It feels like I'm banging my head against the wall a lot of the times. I get it's just a game, but yeah, stasis is a thing. I use stasis. I'm one of those guys. I went against True Vanguard the other day, and I was going and using stasis, and it is what it is. But at the same time, using stasis doesn't mean that you have better gunplay. You have better skill. I can say that too, because you can't use stasis and say you have better skill. That alone doesn't mean it. You have to. It's like people just shotgun running. You can't just say you have better skill because you're a better shotgun runner than the other person. It's how can you, in my opinion, figure out the way to draw someone out, use that against them, and yes, you have your abilities that go hand in hand with that and help out. Stasis is a leading aspect in helping out with your gameplay. Freezing the enemy is probably one of the most insane things in the game. But beyond that, just please add variety for PvP. It feels bland. Very handholdy. Please add skill-based matchmaking back. I prefer it just because I feel pushed to learn and adapt my skills more. Because if I go into a match and I'm trying to be aggressive or I'm trying to try new things, I just either have 5 people standing in front of me at the same time, or at another point, it just doesn't feel rewarding because I can get these insane games, but yet lose beyond belief. Um, like this one. So this was my last match. Yeah, I did terrible. I can admit that. Opponents defeated 21. Um, 17, 23, 28, and 38. So this guy, no malice. 38 kills. This team, all they did was just control 2 flags the most. this guy probably is a really good PvP player. I mean, he has 18 gold medals right now. Crucible. That's insane. That's pretty good. And yet, he's on a team where, honestly, I was the one bringing him down. This guy, too, like, it doesn't feel as rewarding. I don't even know how many gold medals I have. Let's see. How do you check that? But while I'm saying that, it just doesn't. 18. I have 18 as well. Wow, that's funny. Um, it just doesn't make sense at all if you really think about it. Um, secondly, or not secondly, one of the things that I really find um, kind of annoying is just the fact that PvP has been pushed aside. To really summarize that. Secondly, as a major point, would be the Destiny content vault. I was not really against it because it had more ability for Bungie to patch a lot of stuff, which I am okay with. That's fine. I mean, we got the Warlock hotfix, which is great. That got fixed back to feeling better, and some other stuff. But at the same time, it lowered the loot pool. It also changed a lot of things in terms of, I mean, Luke Smith came out with Polygon saying that, hey, they might take away supers that weren't popular or aren't popular. Nova Warp is, in my opinion, an exception. I agree. I mean, it's decent in some regard, but Cross made a good video that I watched this morning or whenever he posted it, and he goes in details. I mean, yeah, Nova Warp isn't not that go-to. It is PvP oriented, but at the same time, it's a sandbox team. Their objective to make it feel better. It shouldn't be based on popularity. They built this foundation on all of these supers. If it's the decision of whether removing these supers or making it as customizable as stasis, I say keep them. Don't change them. Because then that way we're able to actually play the way that we want to play with all the supers that we originally wanted and got, that we were told that were going to be in the game. Now that they're taking them out, or potentially in years to come, whichever the case may be, you gotta think about it too. There's two more major expansions that they've announced. It's gonna happen sooner than later. Um, and so I just really hope this eventually gets into the hands of someone from Bungie, or at least passed along in some form or another. May not, because I'm not a big content creator and I don't have a huge following, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. All voices should be heard by Bungie on this matter. Skill-based matchmaking, I don't like it, but at the same time, I like it to the fact that I can push myself. But I don't see why it was taken away as a main point. Maybe it's because all those sweats didn't want to constantly sweat and be having to compete against really good players and can't make content. That's one hypothesis. But at the same time, I originally thought it was going to be a good thing, it'll be fun, and being able to play against people who aren't great all the time and finally getting a break. But after some time without it, I miss it. I do, because there's no skill at all. And sometimes, I mean, you get the teams that you do have to really try hard. But if you get paired against a team that doesn't know how to play well, you're out of luck there. But yeah, I appreciate for anyone who did watch this video. Even a second of it means a lot. I just wanted to get my voice heard. See if Bungie can hear it a little bit, at least a little echo of it. Get some community, at least insight, or at least drum up to pay attention to what's going on this front, because it's not. I don't know. I'm mostly thinking about like new light players too. It's like not everyone is a complete sweat in PvP right off the bat. I know I wasn't, and for a lot of these new players to say, oh, I want to try Crucible, it seems fun. Try these new abilities. Oh, this person's just completely just pub stopping me. This is not fun. Either you have that mentality or you have the mentality it's like, oh, I'm gonna try to get better, I'm trying to make good plays. But if they have a higher propensity to probably find someone who's at a better skill cap, it's not fun. Skill cap can be either know how to play objectively or have good gunplay. Either or, in my opinion. I can play objectively. Do I want to? No, because it's not as enjoyable. Um, in my opinion. People who like to play solely objectively, maybe that's for you too. For you to do that and to each their own in that regard. But I appreciate watching this, to whomever did. But to that note, I will stop ranting.